Tonight we're showing inside the super duper ISS space station.
Well, I mean,
look at it all, it's just a massive wires.
As we said before, like, you know, they're just putting it in your bloody face. I mean,
fake, yeah.
Why don't they, we all know, like, it's not in space anyway. Why do they not have all wires hanging around everywhere? Is it beyond the realms of possibility? Is to sort of like say to people like me and you and other people in our community, look what we can do, and the minions still don't get it. It's almost like rubbing it in our face, and I do believe that.
Yeah, it's like her with her hair floating up, for God's sake.
I believe. I mean, she's a crisis actor. I've seen her before, like in Guantanamo Bay and everything. That one, unless she's got a twin sister.
But just look at the wires. Just look at all the wires. Yeah. Would you want to go on that? Look at that.
Yeah, it's just a big tin can. I mean, it's probably bought. Listen, now this is back to what the last subject.
And it's the wrong shape.
This thing's in a water tank, right? But it's just below surface level. If you put that thing, right? If you put that thing a few hundred yards down in water, that would crush like a tin can. Do you know there's videos out there, Karen, like of oil tankers? What they do, they have an empty oil tanker, and they start evacuating the chamber. And even when they don't get to a very low torr, the whole thing crushes in. It's like a tin can. It's like you're putting your hand around a tin can. It's like Hulk Hogan getting his hand around a tin can and going.
Also, do you know when they actually film the footage, they never show you the ISS space station moving. It's only the globe.
Of course it is, because it's all CGI in a tank. This thing here, right? This thing here would take no pressure at all. There's a famous Russian sub that went down, and it didn't go nowhere near. It didn't go nowhere near as deep as what the Titan did, and it imploded. And they knew they was going to die. Unfortunately, like they, you know, it lost everyone, because what you got to remember, submarines, they couldn't afford to build a submarine out of titanium, so they can only go so deep. Ordinary submarines don't go that deep. They can't do. They go relatively, you know, they might go, I don't know what it actually is. And Submariner about to tell me, a couple of 100 yards maybe, I don't know. But for every sort of like another 100 yards you go, the pressure increases. This thing here, right, is in a water tank, but it's just below the water, because they couldn't dare take it out of sea. Like, I wouldn't. That thing, I'd be scared of going that thing even in a bloody water tank, Karen, unless it started leaking and we was inside. And
we all know it when they're filming it. It's a flipping aeroplane.
Did you know
it's an aeroplane.
Did you know a few years ago that someone stuck? They had a hole in it and someone stuck their finger in that. I'm joking, right? And I'm not.
He'd have been sucked out.
Can you imagine it?
Then they'd have all been dead.
Do you know what I've found these last few years, Karen? I don't know, 6 or 7 years I've been doing all these podcasts.
Don't forget the virtual toy they had that turned up on one of the videos.
It's not the fact that me and you are so intelligent. It's so how thick most of the general population is, apart from people. Because they believe it. Because they just believe it and don't do their own research. Back to what I was saying earlier, right? You imagine, like, if I'd have known the people that was going down in that sub, maybe they got a death wish and they said to me, "Oh, gal, never guess what, like, I'm going down in this submarine and all that." So I'd say to myself, "Oh yeah, oh right, okay. Is it a titanium hull? Oh no, it's this thing like with a glass with a carbon fibre like main hull. Oh right, okay. Do you want me to probably save your life, like, and save you a couple of $100,000? So you got a bloke that just went to college, that cost my company like probably a couple of £1,000, telling these highly intelligent people, they must be highly intelligent if they got money, surely they've made their money some way. Why would they do it? Why would they? You know what I really feel sorry for, Karen? I feel sorry for the mother that's the mother of that 19-year-old boy. Now, if I was her...
You never know whether they picked them all to do it. Like you said, maybe he was on a death wish. And this way, I don't know what the point was of killing the other people.
It seemed like the mother was quite genuine. So
I mean, you know that things are not done by accident today.
But don't you think the mother would have turned around to the father and said, like, "You are not. You can go on it if you want. You're not taking my son on that." Would you think that would have crossed? You know, they're having their Sunday roast, like, "Hello, love. How's your week been? Oh, great. Like, I went down to sort of like Tesco's, like, see sort of like Joanne, blah blah blah. We had a cup of tea." Spoke about the week. Oh, great. how's your week been, love? Oh, fine. I'm taking our son on an untested submarine like that at the Titanic. No, you effing ain't. You know, all these people live in another reality where they just don't speak about these things because, you know, if I'd have been round that table and I'd have been the older brother, I'd have said, you're not taking my brother on that, Dad, on my bloody life. I'll kill you first, you know. But what can I say? Why do people do silly things? I mean, that they pay for it with their life, Karen. And to be honest with you, me and my mate Kevin both said the same thing. We both said we're actually amazed that the thing never imploded before. We're quite amazed that it lasted as long as what it did. If it did do 80 dives, which I don't think it did. I don't think it done 80 dives. Not down to the Titanic. It wouldn't have lasted that long.
Well, they haven't even done any of that on this, but this thing's floating around in space.
Yeah, well, listen, folks. When you've learnt a little
They're
bit...
not lying it's in space. They're just not telling you where the space is.
Yeah, space in a tank.
Yeah.
Space in a tank. When you've done a little bit of sort of like... I only went to college for 4 years and I've forgotten more, right, than what I ever learnt at college. When you learn enough about materials, Karen, you can see things straight away. It's just bang. You just go, no. I'll see things on TV. Like, no. But most people, like, because they just believe what they've been told, don't they? You know, and what can you do? We've been at this now for 6 or 7 years. The people we've woke up...
More than that, since 2016 for me.
Well, I've been doing it with you about 6 or 7 years.
Right.
I've realised that if people ain't going to get it now, folks, they're never going to get it. So this is why I don't do street activism anymore, because there should have been a butterfly effect by now. And
but you know that they've shut everything down to get to... You know, like, when we first were on YouTube, you could find anything about 9/11, flat Earth, very easily.
Have you heard about the dead internet?
On 9/11, you have to get to about page 6 before you see a building go down. Well, that's what it was all about.
There's a lot of people now saying this thing called the dead internet, where basically...
Or is it dead YouTube? Is it YouTube caught everybody?
The old internet, they call it
Don't forget, YouTube have their own algorithms.
They call it the dead internet, and basically what they're saying is, it's all controlled by AI now, and everything else has sort of like been completely put on the back burner. Well, I'll tell you what, I was earlier today, funny enough, Karen, I told you, I was watching like a video, 2 videos actually, it was on YouTube, by Moneybags, and he specialises in the Mandela effect. And it's quite incredible really, folks, if you can actually see this, because he's asking AI about what was in this particular movie or what was in that movie. And the AI is getting it wrong, and the AI is turning around and saying to him, oh no, I don't remember that, I must be getting it wrong. So, you know, we live in a fluid reality.
Well, it's like the one I said, I remember on the news, and other people had things at their school, like little parties to celebrate that Nelson Mandela had died. 20 years later, he becomes president.
Yeah. I know.
And he's not married to Willie Nelson then.
For me, the top one of all is... I told you this before. Is spelling a cemetery. I know it's wrong. It looks wrong. It's not E-R-Y. It's A-R-Y.
A-R-Y. Yeah.
But when you try and put it in as A-R-Y, it's not. The first time I see this, when I first moved up to where I am now, Karen, I see it on a boarding cemetery. That don't look right. And I went home, and just like magic, what happens? You got someone that was investigating the Mandela effect. I can't remember who it was one of the researchers. Said about cemetery, and he picked up on it as well. There's too many things.
But we did a hangout about that. That'll be on the Sun and Moon
But
channel.
Can you imagine like
Sun and Moon 2?
Can you imagine like everyone wanted definitive proof about the Mandela effect? Well, Moneybags has now got it. We'll probably stand up in a court of law, because if AI gets it wrong, AI is actually, you know, you sort of like turn out your Alexa, Karen. You say, because Peter done it to me this morning. You know, because I work for a charity, like, one of the geezers under my care, like, I said, here, Pete, I said, we was watching on the buses, like, and I said, that Olive, like, she died in an house fire, like, you know. I said, Alexa, blah, blah, blah. Well, can't you imagine sort of like Moneybags is talking to a system 100 times more advanced than that, that's got, because every question he's putting it, the answer's coming straight back, but he's saying things like, you know, Mandela effects in the Bible and all that, and AI is getting it wrong, and AI is going like, oh, let me check on that. So even AI is getting it wrong.
Yeah, we're not supposed to know these things anyway.
We're not meant to know these things. So AI is getting it wrong. So when people out there are saying like, well, all right, okay, just like FE, give us some 100% bona fide proof that can stand up in a court of law. If I was to play it to a judge tomorrow, he'd have to turn up and say, yes, it looks like it is so. Just like Zen Garcia many years ago, when he offered someone £50,000 if they could prove we live on a globe. Someone tried to prove it in a court of law.
And he won.
And he won because the judge turned around and said, no, I cannot prove that we live on a globe. He said, I can't prove we live on a flat earth. So my point is, they want definitive proof. Anyway, Karen, we've written on enough. I want to go. Karen has got a new little toy downstairs. Like it's a spa, and we're going in it in a little while. It's been warming up. Like she's got like a jacuzzi. So I haven't got like a pair of trunks, but they're for God rest his soul, poor old Mickey like has a pair of.
No, it's Jimbo's.
Oh, Jimbo's got some trunks here. What size is he?
Well, hopefully you can get in them.
I've only got underpants on underneath. I don't want Ellie walking down and seeing me in a pair of underpants and the bloody.
Well, it's the same thing as swimming trunks. We'll worry about that bit later.
Worry about that bit.
We put this bit in because
there's not much to see with me anyway, Karen. It's not.
Gary! But when we're looking at this, I'm sorry, they would never have these people in here. So that's another. Well, I've seen frozen astronauts out in space when it's supposed to be live, so it's all not.
It's anyway, just all a big comedy show.
We're going to finish this because we're going to do a little bit about Christian.
Yeah, because a guy I did podcasts with like quite a few times, very good friends with Karen as well. I actually met him. I went to a Tartaria convention about 4 or 5 years ago in Birmingham, hosted by Martin Leakey, and I met Christian for the first time there, and we had a great time. He recognised me straight away. I recognised him because he was about like 6 inches taller than me. I said, I know you are straight away. You got to be Christian, like, because of the size of you. But we done many good podcasts together, and I'd have liked him here this day. I spoke to him a few weeks before he passed away, and I wanted to do another podcast with him. The thing with Christian, if you remember, Karen, we used to rub off on each other, and we used to like bring the best out in each other, didn't we? Like I would come out of a subject and he'd say, oh, Gal, there's one more thing about it. This is why anything we done today, bits I missed, they'd have said, oh, by the way, Gal, what about what about this? You know, but of course, that's how we used to work. We used to sort of like rub off on one another, and we'd want to do a little podcast in recognition of his untimely death, which is very sad. I was actually down my my goddaughter's like in Bristol, like when Karen phoned me up and told me, and I had a tear in my eye and a pint of Guinness in my hand, and I thought, well, Christian wouldn't have wanted it any other way. Like it was. Yes, I was. You know, I did shed a tear, and I was in the right place at the right time. You know, at least I weren't on my electricity bike, and you told me, like I'd have probably bleeding crashed. So I was in the right place at the time, and thanks for that, Christian. So anyway, yeah, we'll do a little thing on a memorial for him, yeah. Yeah,
so we're ending this now, and thank you so much for all those. I hope you
find this one quite interesting. I mean, it's some things I've done before, but some new things. But you know, with me, I just see things and I see fallacies and everything. It's the way my mind works, and obviously, like with all the subjects today, I see natural fallacies. And if anyone out there like knows more about materials than me, they might say to me, "No, Gal, you're completely wrong on a carbon fibre." I don't think I am, and I was proved to be correct in the end for the fact the thing imploded. So,
yeah, very sadly.
Very sadly. So basically, all the people that sort of like passed away, God rest your soul, and it was Stockton's fault really because he didn't listen to people.
No.
When I'm wrong, I'll hold my hands up and admit I'm wrong, but he didn't sort of like admit that, and unfortunately people died on that. So anyway, folks.
Yeah, thank you very much for listening to me and Gary.
Yeah, love you all, and keep promoting the truth, because there's very few of us out there, but we're getting very near tipping point. We're getting more and more. It's a hard slog.
Only 20% of the people voted.
Yes, and the thing is, the thing that happened a couple of years
ago. And they're telling you that.
The things that
it's probably less than that.
The things that happened a couple of years ago, like with a capital C and a capital V. It woke up a lot of people that weren't. They done themselves no favours at all.
My kids have changed now.
That woke up a lot of people. That was one of the best things that ever happened to us, and they didn't do it again. That really woke up people. It woke up people that I know that didn't
Well,
know
actually,
anything.
there's another strain of it out at the moment, which they're talking on the news.
And there's me walking around shaking people's hands on the street and one thing and another, like, you know, when it was going on, and I'm perfectly okay. And people I know, you know what makes me laugh, folks? I'm going to leave you this one last thing. It's amazing how the indoctrination system, right, always gives them an answer for everything. When I turn around to people that I know that are always ill, that have had multiple jabs, they turn around and say to me, yeah, but Gal, I'm not as ill as what I would have been. Rather than turn around and say, hang on a minute, Gal, you haven't had one bleeding jab of your life, like, you know, and you're perfectly okay. And this is why I hope this isn't, you might have to cut this off because I said jabs. Am I allowed to say jabs?
Yes, that's all right.
Right. My point is, isn't it amazing how rather than the answer should be, when you've got a brain like mine, like with Asperger's, you try and find the natural answer for any given subject, Karen. Now the answer should be, bloody hell, Gal, yes, you're right. Because that's the Occam's razor answer, isn't it? How comes I've taken all these lot and I'm ill all the time? Why do they always have another explanation why they're ill, rather than think, hang on a minute, this don't make a bit of common. There you go. We're dealing with people that sort of like believe anything they're told. I mean, I've always used my own initiative throughout my whole life, and it's done me pretty good to where I am now. And if I was to die tomorrow, I've done as much as I can within my parameters for the truth movement, haven't I, Karen?
Yeah, you did a bit about a vacuum with a glove in a vacuum.
Yes, well, I did that as well. I was the second person called Ralph Renee, one of my idols, like in 1974, after the fake moon landings. He proved that sort of like an astronaut in space with unequal pressure couldn't have any dexterity in his glove, and neither can Tim Peake or any of the others up the imaginary space station now. And I used to take it down Hyde Park, and literally it went viral across America for the fact I was the second person in history to do it. I got an old sort of like water canister with a bloody little glove in it, and I said to the bloke, I said, excuse me, mate, would you mind putting your hand in that glove? And I evacuated the chamber, and I said, what about that little bolt there? Can you possibly sort of like with your fingers? Then this is with a pair of Marigold gloves. Now the NASA gloves were 13 layers thick. You wouldn't be able. Imagine trying to wipe your bum. You wouldn't be able to do anything. You'd have no dexterity at all. Yeah, so I was the second. That is my claim to fame. I'm the second person in history that's done that.
Oh, Gary.
Yeah, after Ralph Renee, one of my idols. After Bill Casing, Ralph Renee, and Bart Sabrell. People have got different opinions about Bart Sabrell, but he's done his research. Anyway, I love you all and leave you because I'll keep on talking for England, and I want to go and get in the spa. Nighty night.
Oh, thank you, Gary. Thanks everybody for listening.
Bye.